The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, we're heading into the Spider-Verse with miles to go before we sleep. Yes, that was a Robert Frost poem reference in a Spider-Man podcast. It's part 3 in our Legacy the Spider-Man series. I'm Regs.
And I'm Aady.
And this is the Film Addicts Podcast. Hey folks, welcome back to the Film Addicts Podcast. I'm here with Aady. How you doing, mate?
Oh, we doing good. I'm doing good.
Awesome. We're back again for more Spider-Mans. We're talking exclusively the Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film from 2019. Is it 2019 or 2018? 2018. 2018. Remarkable film and really, ground zero for these multiversal stories that have now become quite normal in our superhero landscape. But we're going to come at it from a couple of different angles. But before we do that, we do have a couple of nerd news stories. One in particular that I think everyone's going to be losing their mind for, because I'm certainly excited. Are you ready for nerd news, Aady?
I am very much excited for nerd news.
It's nerd news. Okay, so I've been waiting. Didn't mention it to you yesterday, Aady, when I found this out, but I'm fucking on board. Taron Egerton from Kingsman and Rocket Man and that Robin Hood movie that nobody likes, that I think is quite good.
I like that movie.
I like that movie too. I don't know what the fuck everybody talking about.
Yes, we have a podcast.
Yeah, we do. And he, great young actor. He's about to be in an Apple TV series that was Ray Liotta's last project called Blackbird, I think it's called. Looks really interesting. Anyway, great actor. I really enjoy his work. He reportedly, himself, has reportedly said that he has been in talks with Marvel to take over the role of Wolverine.
Like,
fucking swish! Fucking yes! Fucking yeah! He's great because he's short and stocky and he's got some real intensity and he's young too. Like he can do interesting shit with that, the way that they did with the Ultimate Universe of series of comics where they're all younger people. Like, what's that for, a young man who's he's only 30 or something, but he could play mid-20s, as opposed to having an old man in that type of body, yes, I'm on board. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I've been a fan of his work since Kingsman, and I've read the comic also, and I'm all for it, especially for the new take on the X-Men. And there's no comparing any other superhero to Hugh Jackman because he's played it for so long.
Yeah.
And he went out on his own terms, and I love that for him. There's a part of me that wish that maybe someday we could have had him in the MCU, just like a little cameo or whatever, but maybe we have that in Deadpool.
Not out of the
But yeah.
Look what happened in Days of Future Past. You had the two generations crossing over. You had Professor Xavier talking to his younger self. That's fine. And Jackman's pictures got consistently better. X-Men 2 is better than X-Men 1. X-Men 3 is not great, but the Wolverine
it's better than what we got for its remake, dude.
Yeah, the Wolverine, X-Men Origins, whatever, Wolverine or the Wolverine, and then Logan, they got consistently better. So he's done his time, and it's time to inject new blood. And if the Spider-Verse has taught us anything, it's that there's all different types, and there's all different people who gonna dig different shit. So, just let it happen. And he's a great choice. I can't imagine the cacophonous derision that's probably going to be going on in the States right now that not only did an Australian play him first, but now a Pommy kid's going to play him. But if you think about it, Spider-Man was played by a Brit. Superman's played by a Brit. Batman's been played by a Brit. It's totally cool. Bring him on. I love it. This one you let me know about. Dune Part 2 has been pushed to November 2023 as a release date. Apparently
it's a month. It's a month of delay. That's all. It was going to come out in October. And it's coming out in November, and I'm still sad.
Do you reckon that's them avoiding something else? Like, is there something else that's scheduled to come out in October that they're like, we don't want to go up against it?
Well, I don't know. The announcement was that the MonsterVerse, which is real now, because Godzilla versus Kong was the film that kind of almost ended the MonsterVerse because of the rights and everything. But now that they have the rights back, it exists. So I'm really happy. And they have a film coming out in 2024, which was the headline, and then beneath that was Dune shifted from October to November of 2023.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, they've just started shooting. So if they've just started shooting, so if they've delayed, then I reckon Danny knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I want little to zero meddling in that project of WB. I just want him
with them putting it on HBO Max day and date, and he was like, "Well, all of you guys in a Canadian French accent can get fucked." Is basically what happened. So I think they'll probably leave him be, especially with the success. Just from Oscar noms, if nothing else. So yeah, whatever the stakes is, I'm here for it. Kristen,
I'm still sad though.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean it's we've got to wait that extra month now. A month is a long time when you think about it. The next story is Kristen Ritter, who played Jessica Jones on the Netflix series, will reportedly return in Disney Plus's soft reboot of the Daredevil series. Fucking awesome. Kristen Ritter is a great actress. She's perfect for that role. There was talk about them recasting it at one point. I don't know why you would do that. In what universe you could find a better actress for that role, I don't know. Yeah, bring it on. She's great.
Piggybacking on that, though, hey Marvel, I know you're listening. Get agents back, please. Have Daisy Johnson show up in Miss Marvel. Come on.
Surely the amount of stuff, the amount of internet badgering that's gone on about that show, it's something's got to happen soon enough, And speaking,
they've openly referenced Inhumans now. Just come on, please.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to do it. And finally, just a couple of quick little points here for the nerd news. Neve Campbell, who had dropped out of the new Scream picture, Scream 6, or Scream 2, or whatever it is, because it's weird. The last Scream film that came out was just called Scream, but it's chronological.
It was also
chronological Scream 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Scream 6, whatever that is, she'd stepped away because she wasn't being paid enough, and she's like, "Fuck you!" and then pissed off. She's I've got to get to a party of 5, so she's out. Was she in Party of 5? I hope so. Otherwise, that joke doesn't work. But they've come to an agreement, and she's going to be in that, and she's also going to be in whatever Scream 7 is, and that's a lot of Scream, my pals. And it also gives away the farm, so clearly she's going to make it through the next one. You know when they do that, the trend to like say, "Oh, we're going to do 14 of these movies, and we've got this person signed on for all of them." Like, well, take away the threat, why don't you? That bittersweetness of Kenobi, where you're like, well, nothing's going to happen to him, is it? He's got to turn into an old man in the desert. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good on you, Nev. Good on fight for your right to party of 5. Fight for your right to get paid what you're worth is more my point. Unless you put in a really bad performance, I guess, but that shouldn't matter. Anyway, into the Spider-Verse we go, and it's wonderful. It's a great film. And Addie, what do you want to say?
No, I was just going to think.
Oh, you went thwit? The introduction to mass media of Miles Morales, who was created by Brian Michael Bendis during his Ultimate Spider-Man run, as kind of a counterpoint to the normalcy of what we got, up until this point of Spider-Man. Miles is a young. His mother is of Hispanic origin, and his father is an African American. So he's a young. I think mixed race is the correct terminology. Kid. Like young, the way that Peter was, a little bit unsure about himself even before the powers, more so than Peter. And finally, everybody gets to know who this kid is, whereas we've all been reading him in the comics. He finally appears in mass media, and the multiverse kind of begins. This movie, without this film, you don't get No Way Home. You don't get whatever this Flash movie is. You don't get
Multiverse of Madness.
You don't get Multiverse of Madness, absolutely not. You don't get these big sort of fourth and fifth dimensional ideas going on. It is absolutely groundbreaking in terms of that, in terms of its popularity, in terms of its animation style, which is unlike anything that had ever been produced before. It was the closest you'd probably get to a moving comic book. But also nothing. It is above spectacle. It has such a beautiful story accepting yourself and believing in yourself. It is, what a remarkable picture. And I'll just say one thing before we get into it quickly. If you want to talk about, everybody knows how hard it is to make movies. That's why they don't come out straight away. Even if you do it as quickly as you possibly can, it takes you 2-3 years to make a sequel to something. Into the Spider-Verse, for every second of that film to be animated, and it's 117 minutes, so just shy of 2 hours. For every second, it took digital artists 1 week to complete. It took 4 years in total and 800 animators. That's Herculean and massive respect.
Yeah, I think it was a journey of 6 years from script to screen, right?
Yeah, it was gestating for a long time, which is interesting because Miles has been popular for a long time. I mean, people have been campaigning to get this character on the screen in some form. I remember there was a big talk about Donald Glover playing him at one point, like some serious internet chatter about it. And he's a super popular character. Again, being at the Astor Spider-Thon a couple of weeks ago, people were there to see Toby, and they were there to see Andrew, and they were to see Tom Holland. Oh, absolutely. But there was a pretty vocal contingent that was shouting Miles, 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 Miles when that film started. And as soon as What's Up Danger comes on, and he does that does the backflip off the building and then sort of free falls, people were losing their. I wish I'd filmed it. They fucking lost their minds. They went bananas once more. It was that place was filled with bananas. It was potassium-based entertainment. Just so cool. Addie, tell me about your feelings about this film, because I think it hit a really interesting period for you. You would have been 16 when it came out?
Yep.
What a perfect time to see it.
Yeah, it was perfect. I was 16 and I went with my best friend. And then he left me in the theater because I wanted to stay for the post-credit scene. Fucker. But anyway.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
No. I always say it, like, every time we get in an argument, I say, well, I didn't fucking leave you in a movie theater, did I?
You got to let these things go, all right? It's like my fiance gives me shit for eating. We had kebabs one time. I don't know if everyone knows what a kebab is. Here in Australia, a kebab is like it's like a Middle Eastern type food.
Wrap?
It's kind of Middle Eastern fusion wrap thing with like meat and stuff in it. And we were still eating meat at the time. This was years ago. It was literally 9 years ago now. Like we've been dating for almost 10 years. It was about 6 months into our relationship. And we got kebabs one night and she didn't finish hers. And then she went to work the next day and she left it in the fridge and I ate it. And she come home to no kebab and was she wasn't mad or anything. Like she was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch," and just jokingly, sort of brushed it off. She still brings it up to this day. We're now engaged to be married. She's lived in this house with me for nearly 10 years, for 9 plus 0.27 years or whatever. She still brings up the kebab. So all I'm saying is, Addie, let it go, pal. You can't hold on to these things.
Well, I had no money. I had to walk back home. So yeah.
Oh, hang on. Okay, well that's fucked up. Yeah, that's super fucked up.
Yeah.
Unfair. Anyway, Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching the trailer and I was like, oh, that's weird. Looks like a comic book, but like I wasn't into comics back then. And I was like, that's weird. It's also animated. But I watched it. I went and watched it and I fucking loved it. And I've loved it ever since.
Everybody did. Like it absolutely sort of blew everyone away. I can't tell you a person who I've spoken to who's seen it, he didn't like it, comic book fan or otherwise. Most of the people I know, my friend Mitch, who runs All Star Comics in Melbourne, shout out All Star Comics, it's his favorite Spider-Man movie. And I totally get it. It does everything. It's so innovative. It has such a great heart and character to it, but it does everything you want it to do in terms of being faithful to the comics, because all of these characters were, even Spider-Ham was in the comics. The noir Spider-Man is really great, and it was so
Nicolas Cage. Oh, Jesus Christ!
You can't get better than that. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
and I think it had the smarts. The two guys who wrote it, the Phil Lord and
Chris Miller.
Yeah, thank you. The Lego movie guys and the guys who got fired from Han Solo to then go on and do...
For making it too funny.
Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine being Kathy Kinnear or whoever it is who runs like Star Wars and being like, yeah, fuck those guys off. Let's get Ron Howard in, and then seeing how well this does and going, oh shit, maybe we should have stuck to the plan, because they had a quirkiness and a sweetness and a dab hand at doing really great comedy. Like the whole thing about the Rubik's Cube with Noir Spider-Man, how he's like,
oh yeah,
kind of thing,
fantastic.
And Spider-Ham, like they're all stuck to the ceiling, and there's Miles' roommate, and he's like, can animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak him out. Like just sweet and funny and just delectable and great modern
and also
relations of characters as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's Gwen, Spider-Gwen, which is Haley Steinfeld, great character as well, but also the version of Aunt May that they have. Like she's a badass. She's whipping people's ass because they're fucking up her house, and Dr. Octopus being female as well. Like just some really...
And Catherine Hahn as that, I was like, oh yes.
Awesome. Like
I kind of wish we got her instead of Alfred Molina in No Way Home. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it could have worked. It totally could have worked. And I think...
And like have her be like the Roger Rabbit kind of thing where she's animated the whole film.
There's no way they would have let that happen. It would have confused people too much. But
yeah,
I mean, just it is... For as forward-thinking as some of the more modern stuff is, in terms of not only representation, but just a modern eye, like a modern point of view around don't have your damsel in distress be a damsel in distress. Have it be someone who can look after themselves as well as the hero sometimes, and put more, people of color in these things, because it represents us. It represents where we are in time right now. This is not. It's not 2002. Honestly, like it's not. And particularly with Miles being the character that you're kind of drawn to, but everybody that surrounds him, it is one of the most modern movies of all time. Like, it captured a moment, and it won a fucking Academy Award. Like, not that means anything, not that that's gauge on quality,
but it's also deserved, because fucking hell, they worked a lot. And I just want to say, it also helps if you have films like 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street in your arsenal. Like, come on. The people who can make Spider-Verse are the only people who can make those movies.
I completely agree.
There's nobody else.
Yeah, I completely agree. That in the same way that Into the Spider-Verse shouldn't, those movies shouldn't work.
Yeah.
There's no reason that a comedy remake of 21 Jump Street should work, but that first film is fucking hysterical. It really is.
I watch that almost every day, man.
It's so, like that joke alone he's hefty, man. Oh, that's the second one. Is that the second one?
That's the second one. That's the second one.
Right, yeah, just, and fucking doves fly out. Why? Because doves are fucking badass. Like, just, it really is. It's very, very smart. It's very, very
and
smart.
that reveal of Ice Cube, like in the second one, the reveal of Ice Cube being like the father of the girl that he was dating, was like, and then the whole fucking scene where he's like, he gets the beans and is like, motherfucker, give me some more beans. And then he just
I like beans. And or when Channing Tatum finds out that it's the boss's
oh shit!
Oh my god! And he starts losing his mind in the office. Just really, really sharp. And
I'll put that scene in. I'll put that scene in because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, if you can, drop it into the YouTube because it's so good. But like, speaking about those guys then moving on to, Star Wars, and they would have been writing Spider-Verse at the same time that they were producing Solo. You couldn't not. It was happening concurrently. But I think if they get the opportunity to finish what they want to do with Solo, this movie suffers.
Because then Solo goes on to be successful.
Yeah, and they get in a different way. I mean, Solo.
Yeah,
I think that movie's fine. It was just a nice old-fashioned action adventure picture, and there you go. It was no big deal. But
it's just based in the Star Wars universe. That's all.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But to be able to come into this and reinvent not only what a modern understanding of what animation is, because even at this point, the films that this was up against at the Academy Awards were Pixar style animation. Like this had the animation style or the difference of animation style that you would get from a European output. Occasionally when there's like the best animated film of the year at the Oscars nominated, and it's 4 Pixar movies and something from the Ukraine. Like this year it was
like every other year.
Yeah, like Triplets of Bellevue or the one that was this year that I don't recall, that was an
was
animated,
it Flea?
Yeah, an animated documentary, Flea, as in FLEE. There's always that one that bucks the trend, doesn't look like the rest of them. And that's what Spider-Verse was, but it also had mass appeal because it's a franchise product. It's Sony going, we don't have what Marvel has,
but this is what we have.
But this is what we do have. We've got everything else, so let's just fucking throw a bunch of stuff out there and see what happens. Venom does perfectly fine, whatever. This is the one that is able to capitalize on the Spider-Verse that they have the ability to use. And I think this is absolutely the takeaway for me is now is the time for Miles Morales.
Yes.
You said it. Technically, you said it a few hours ago, but technically, like in terms of time, but the way that you're listening to it, folks, last week, Addie said, Sony, make a fucking live action Miles film. It's totally true. It couldn't be a better time to do it. A young powerful and yet unsure person of color under that mask says more about who we are as people at this particular point in time than Tom Holland does. And Tom Holland's great.
And he's also said that he hopes that one day he's able to share the screen with Miles Morales.
How amazing would that be? To really to give everybody someone to, and like we were saying last week again, the benefit of Spider-Man is the fact that it is anybody under there. It's not Batman with the window of mouth or Superman who just takes his glasses off and everybody doesn't recognize him. It's not all these white bread motherfuckers. It's people who are out there. And if you want to say that I'm being woke, go right ahead. But I'm more interested in stories that represent more people, because then more people get to enjoy them. If you see yourself in something, it's going to mean more to you. Like for you, Addie, as a person of color, like you're going to see Miles and feel differently about it than I do. It's just a fact. If that's a voice for you, I mean, how could that possibly be a bad thing?
Exactly. And it came out in the same year that I decided that, like, I had no fucking plan whatsoever. And it came out in the same year that A Star Is Born came out, and A Star Is Born made me realize I wanted to make films. And then this film came out, I was like, holy shit, should I really make films? Because I can never do that.
Sometimes you'll do that though. Like I've had that too. I went and saw an old movie, funnily enough, Lawrence of Arabia at speaking out films filled with white people that are racially insensitive. There's a lot of blackface going on in that movie. But I went and saw that as it was like a 70mm print at the Astor, the beginning of like 2021 or something like that. And I was like, what am I even doing? I've been a filmmaker for over half my life at this point. I was just like, there's no way I'll ever get to where David Lean got to. But that's good. Sometimes that helps make you strive,
Yeah, I mean, I cannot put into words how much that film has inspired me, not in a creative way, just as a person.
Mm.
And it's what Spider-Man is. And like, if you say that, like, I get into this argument when I'm talking about Superman, because if you know me, you know that Superman's my favorite character in fiction, all the fiction. I get in this argument a lot where people are like, well, Superman's kind of boring because all he does is hope and all that shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, have you ever talked to a person that's lost hope? And like, the people who say that because of the whole beacon of hope thing, he's boring, like, you in your life have never been at a point where you've never had hope. You've never hit a low point in your life. And what Superman does to a person like that is something that you can only feel and not comprehend in words. And and yeah, it's kind of old school, but hey man, the shit that's happening around the world right now, we kind of need all the hope we can get. And it's the same with Spider-Man. It's not about what people do to you or like how people see you. It's about how you see the world and how you can make it better and how that can change you, and how one person in your life may be at a point where you're questioning yourself can change the whole outlook. With what Peter does with Miles, Earth Prime Peter in that film is not there for more than 5 minutes. But he shapes who Miles is. Well, not exactly that Peter, but Peter shapes who Miles is.
Yeah, I think that's...
Did I go too far?
No. It's absolutely true. It's you're saying hope, and that's definitely where that is. But this film, as far as I could read, and it's not a message that I needed, because I'm not Miles in this scenario. I'm Peter. That is, and not, it has nothing to do with color, but it's just because of like, I've been through what Miles went through. Finding your power, and trusting it is a really important thing for a young person. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be Spider-Man. You can just decide what you want to do with your life, or what you want to do with your right now as well. It doesn't have to be the big picture. That message rings true to me. But also passing on a message of hope in what is adult despair, which is the thing that Peter's going through. Relationships break down. You get old. Things don't work as well as they used to. You start feeling resentful towards people for their youth, which is ludicrous because you had your chance. His arc, like in tandem with Miles, learning from each other, him learning to accept the things that he has become in this as an older version of Peter, and Miles accepting that he's just the beginning of his journey. And these are the mistakes that were made. And also the Peter from Miles's universe, the Chris Pine voiced, who dies. Spoilers. I assume you've seen it if you listen to the episode.
I mean, they killed Peter Parker twice in the same year.
I know.
Come on.
Whoop that ass. Jesus, poor Pete. But when he says to him, don't ever let him know who you are under that mask. Like, wear a mask. You need to protect yourself because you'll go after the people you love. That fear as an adult, I understand that too. So it really does. But again, and then the final, idea about the whole thing based on these three sort of core characters, the one you meet at the start and then the two you follow with, Gwen's the same too, is that hope, is that whatever tribulations are in front of me, I have the tools to confront them honestly and with kindness, which is the only currency really, and overcome, because evil is always going to be overcome. Maybe not always in the real world. We live in we all live on this planet. We all know what goes on. There's troubles here. But if you can make a decision every day to do the right thing, and if Spider-Man helps you do that, it's absolutely the moral barometer by which we should all be governing ourselves. And Miles is the perfect example of that because of his youth.
Absolutely, and it's so perfect. It's so perfectly put in this one line that holy fucking shit, nobody else can write. It's a leap of faith. It truly is, and it rings so much. Like not in just the moment that you see him actually taking a leap of faith, but I've been in situations in my life where I've said to myself, it's a leap of faith, but fuck it, I'm going to take it anyway. And it's that courage that you need at that moment. It's the perfect Spider-Man film. It's the perfect Spider-Man story. And
agreed.
It's a story that brings generations of fans together, new and old, and people who've liked Spider-Gwen that never got a chance to ever see her on the big screen, got a chance to see this amazing character. And like, she's the one who's teaching Miles more, but he's learning from Peter B. Parker more than he's learning from Gwen. And he's just, I get very emotional. If you've listened so far,
This is an emotional podcast. If you don't like it, get your own one. Get your own salty.
He doesn't have a
disconnect.
I was on my fifth. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just making jokes about people being, stoic and cold-hearted.
Yeah. Though it also doesn't help. I had my fifth cup of coffee today, so fuck me.
Dude, how are you not vibrating into another dimension?
Oh, trust me, I am. I've gone to 8 cups once, just because I thought 7. I thought 7 was bad, and so to calm myself down, I had the 8th, and I was like, no, that's even worse.
You know, at the end of this picture that we're talking about currently, where the world starts to it's basically an incursion when Miles and the fantastically rendered Kingpin, voiced by Liev Schreiber, just wonderful such great motivation for a villain too. I lost my wife and kid. I'm going to fucking find him in the multiverse. I wonder where they might have picked that from. Not this film. I'm saying another film might have picked that up, very, very recently. And everything's like crashing in on each other. That's 8 cups of coffee. If I had 8 cups of coffee, I would have a fucking stroke. I'm not even joking. I have 1 in the morning and good night. Like, that's all.
Oh boy.
That's a lot. That's a lot of caffeine, my friend. The relationships in the film ring really true. Like, everybody's got a parent that's harder on them than the other one, who wants them to, strive and achieve, and then has to come to grips with the fact that this person is also their own person. Children aren't, conduits by which you live your life. They're other people, Not that I understand. I don't have kids, but if I did, I would hope that I would understand that. And then there's also the relationship with a person outside of your parents who maybe they don't 100% approve of. The uncle, the bad uncle, who ends up being a fucking supervillain in this. Like, and Prowler in this movie, they're not going to be able to do it better. Sony, hear me now and hear me now. Do not do a live action version of Prowler, because you get a fucking... Do not. Leave him be where he is. That is such a great character, and the fucking score when he gets seen.
Oh, it's you know what it is though. You know how they made that.
Mm.
It's the sound of an elephant, and they've like lowered the volume and added more synth to it. Yeah, like now you hear it back and it's like wow, and it's so cool.
I thought it was someone dildoing a cello. Like, it is vibrator on a goddamn wind instrument is what it sounded like to me, sir. And I'm not 100% convinced it wasn't. You can keep all your elephants. But it's funny, when I was at the Spider-Thon, this was movie 6, and so it would have been probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was starting to wane a little bit, and I did find myself kind of like nodding. It was all bright colors and pretty images and stuff, and I was slowly nodding to sleep, and then fucking Prowler would come on screen. Whee! I'm like, okay, well, I'm up again. I'll have a sandwich. It was just, it was. But that character is he's kind of like he's a merc. He's a villain for hire kind of thing. That scene in the alley where he dies.
Oh God.
Shit. Like, there is no reason that an animated film should be as powerful as this is. Even things, that we understand, like the end of Aladdin, you'll always be a prince to me. When Mufasa dies in Lion King. These things.
You had to bring that up.
I'm sorry.
You had to bring up Mufasa, hey?
The end of Toy Story 3, like these moments, they shouldn't ring true, as artificial as they are at what you're looking at, but they do. And people will come to this movie, or everybody came to this movie with their eyes completely closed. They're like, oh, it's a Spider-Man movie, so I have to go and see it, because you go and see Spider-Man movies. And I think everybody was really taken by surprise at, like, oh, they're doing things that the other shows aren't, that the other programs aren't. And I'm not just talking about representation or characters or story arcs or anything like that. It's just like, oh, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so powerful.
And it's weird because you're watching
tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah, and like when he dies, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot it's a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And the uncle has to die.
You've got to kill someone. You got to kill someone. At least it wasn't the dad. Actually, the end part as well. Like, I have a good relationship with my dad, but he wasn't around when I was a kid. Like, my parents had split up. The scene where Miles is still Spider-Man, and he's like talking in a deep voice to his dad or whatever. He's like, "Love you." Like, it's just. I know what that's like. To be like trying to relate to your dad in that way when he can or can't. At the very beginning where he gets out of the car, he's like, "Love you," and he's on the he's on the whaler in the cop car.
Yeah.
Like, just you gotta say it back. Love you too. That's a 10-4. Like, just I get that relationship again rings really, really true.
And that's the whole film, though. Like that sentiment it's throughout the film. And it's weird that we're talking about the film and just the stories, and we're not touching on the animation, because like you can't talk about this movie and not talk about the animation, because for me every animator is a filmmaker and a storyteller, and it's never been as true, and it's never shown so perfectly in, like, except for this movie, where you can, like, there's a scene where they break into the, is it Oscorp? Is it something else, where Peter B. Parker and Miles, they break into the facility to, like, get the monitor and the CPU.
Gonna grab a bagel from the break room, like.
Yeah, and then he throws the bagel, and then, like, there's a splash bubble that says bagel.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you don't have to do that.
No.
You don't have to. It's just how much you care for it.
And that's like third or fourth or fifth viewing shit that you don't catch,
It's like
how much is going on.
Like that film, like even the opening credits before the movie start and the ending credits after the movie's gone, after the main film's ended, it's so gorgeous to look at. Like I watch it on my laptop and I don't get up. Like I want to see it. It's one of my favorite openings, because like it starts off with like the glitching and like the Marvel Studios glitching and everything. And the first few times it happened, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with the projector?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I thought it was we'd accidentally gone to see it in 3D. Because some of the edging on the characters is this coloured edging, and I went out. I'm like, are we in the wrong motherfucking place? And they were like, well,
this is how it is.
This is how it is. Enjoy yourselves. I thought I was old. I'm an old man.
Oh man. Holy shit, it's been 4 years since that movie came out.
Yeah, I guess. And it's still, you're talking about the animation, it's so stylized and so what's the word? Hyperactive. There's so much going on, so much input, to kind of take in. You have to kind of watch it either on a big enough screen that you can catch everything, or go back for multiple viewings. It's probably, I remember you were saying before about the animators being filmmakers and storytellers. It's totally true. When I was younger, I still really like it, but the Atlantis, we talked about it when we did our Drawn Together episode, one of my favorites. And I was watching the behind the scenes sort of interviews with the cast and crew and everything. And one of the animators, because each character has a different animator, they can't have one guy do them all. So the guy who did Miles, who was, Milo, who was the lead character, he was saying, what I do is I put the, this was back in the mid to early 2000s. It was like, he goes, I put the do not disturb thing on the door. I shut it. I turn all the lights off except for the lights that he's got on his drawing desk. And I sit down, I put some music on, and I get into the scene. I'm like, what is this scene? What does the character need to do in this scene to tell the story best? Like, it's true. And you can totally see it in this as well. There is not a single frame out of place, which is saying a lot. We talked about animation being really, you've got to be really critical of it, because you have to be. You only animate what you need to animate. But in terms of emotions and things like that, and how you're reflecting those while all this crazy shit's going on, huge big goblin creatures, you get that in the tiny details, the minute details, and also the vocal performances, which were all really good as well.
Absolutely. I know I'm diverting towards story more right now, but hear me out. The whole film, every spider person, is that okay to call them spider person?
Spider folks, spider people,
same shit.
Yeah. One of them's a pig, so
hey, he's a pig for us. He comes from a universe where there are only pigs, so he's a pig for us.
Okay.
What the fuck did I just say?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm half following you. Let's go.
Yeah. And so like the whole film, all the spider people have addressed Miles as Miles, right? But the moment he becomes Spider-Man is when he shows up to the fight invisible. And it's Olivia Octavius that's it's not Miles or anyone else. She says Spider-Man, and that's the combination of his arc, is he's finally become him. While being totally different from Peter, he's finally become Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it goes through it at the end where he says, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter fuck, I'm gonna mess this up. He says along the lines of anyone can be under the mask. You can be under the mask. And if you didn't know that before, I hope you know. I hope you know now.
Yeah.
And he goes on the crane and he does the flip of the like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 opening at the end, and it's like it's an homage to the iterations that have come before. Like Peter B. Parker is Tobey Maguire's Parker. It's him from those films.
Yep.
It's just they didn't have Tobey Maguire voicing him. That's all.
It was Jake Johnson, yeah. Who was great,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Great, absolutely great.
And also the trope of like everyone gets an intro and then Miles is like, okay, let's do this one more time. Like it just, it's such a cool way to get around the fact that everybody complains that whenever they reboot these things, they have to do an origin story when everybody fucking knows Spider-Man's origin. Well, you don't know this one, you know. That's the writers being very, very savvy about the material. And understanding it in a way that perhaps a corporation doesn't. A corporation wants to be able to the RV Arad talk we had last week. A corporation wants to make toys out of stuff. They want to be able to put things on a billboard and have people recognize it and go and pay their money to go and see it. Filmmakers, and in particular writers who understand that you can use these huge science fiction or mythical ideas to tell stories about people, they get it. They're the ones who are going to be like, look at what we can show you. Look at how this can be achieved in a way that maybe you didn't realize before, because everybody knows what we're talking about. You don't have to hold people's hand, you know? I remember in the early 90s, Marvel had this thing, and they still have a blurb at the beginning of any comic that you buy that says, such and such is such and such, and blah, blah, blah. Spider-Man, bitten by a radioactive spider. Peter Parker is doing the Spider-Man, blah, blah. Or I was reading the Punisher one the other day, and Frank Castle's family was killed by mobsters, and then he decided to punish crime. And
Are you talking about a summary?
Yeah, just like a little blurb. But in the 90s, Marvel had like a full page of like, these are who they are. This is the story up until this point. And you don't need to do that these days. People are savvy enough to follow stories. We've talked about it before. There is no way that you can have the kind of renaissance of TV that you've had in the last 20 years since The Sopranos, all the way up until, let's say, Stranger Things being the most talked about thing at the moment. That complex a storytelling over such a long period of time and have people get it and have people dig it so much if we're not all sophisticated enough storytellers on our own. And these guys get that. That's Absolutely. Why this movie hits so hard, because everyone's like, oh shit, I'm following all of this.
Like, it's a perfect example of showing what turning up to 100 and then going 1,000% up feels like. Yeah. Like, it's the writers and the producers and everyone involved feeling so loved and so comfortable and so confident in this project. Like, if one person in the involvement of this project did not feel as confident as they were, there's no way this film turned out the way that it did. And it's a testament to literally everyone who worked on this. And like, we talked about animation earlier and we did an episode, and it's like, we had like 2D style animations before, but then we had Spider-Verse, but there were 2D and 3D and then just map paintings all over. And then map paintings interacting, or like 2D characters interacting with 3D characters in a map painting and all that. Sorry if anyone doesn't understand that. Very sorry.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
They've got the internet on their phone. They do.
Yeah. And then that sparked things like see, we live in an era where we have so many things, right? And like so many things, I mean, like we have so many TV shows and films. And it's so rare that something like that hits so many certain points that you can see its influence in different genres of media. Like, there's no way Arcane exists without Spider-Verse. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, especially the animation style of it being a little bit kind of high shutter speed and rugged kind of looking and fast, and having people like, you know what, you're just going to have to catch up. You've just got to keep up with us. We're not going to soften, we're not going to flatten things out and make it easy on you like a Pixar picture or whatever. This is going to have depth and shading and detail that you're not prepared for in an animated film. And I think
you just have to take it in.
Yeah, I think probably the incredible advancement in computer game technology just in the last 10 years, let's say, has also prepared people for this kind of not only storytelling but visuals. You can do, whereas animation had a uniformity in the 90s and 2000s because people had an expectation of what things should look like. Now you can try different shit and people are going to either say, yes, this one's for me, or I'll move on to the next thing. And yeah, there's a huge contingent from the computer game industry that is responsible for that. I wouldn't be surprised if most of them, especially people who did cutscenes and stuff. Like the guy directed Deadpool has a company. I think it's called, might be Blizzard. Oh no, maybe not. Correct me in the comments. He started in doing cutscenes and trailers for video games. He did one of the best trailers of all time for Batman Origins, which is just the Batman's face. It's like him as a kid seeing his parents getting killed, and then him at prep school to getting beat up, and then him training as a ninja, and then him as Batman. It was just all face shots. It was incredible.
I think I've seen that one.
Oh, you would. It's like outstanding. It did the rounds on social media when Dawn of Justice came out. People going, this is what we actually want. No comment. But yeah, I think people are sophisticated enough in their understanding of story, and that there's something out there for everybody, and everybody's different. But this does have a universal appeal to it. Absolutely, Spider-Man always will. Yeah,
and like I said last week, it's like Spider-Verse for me was where I understood that I will go into superhero films to not actually look at superheroes. Like, I want to go see it. I'll buy a ticket for a Spider-Man film, but I want to see a story of Peter Parker, not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it sparked in me. Like, I will go for the next how many ever films they have of Spider-Verse. I think they only have a trilogy, but again, fuck it. We getting that much, and like what makes it like even more perfect is that it doesn't have to have a sequel. It's a perfect film through and through.
Yeah, and there's no need to go apart from that they teased Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, but you could also like exactly. But you could also say that as Nick Fury coming in at the end of Iron Man, it's like, hey, we have this. Look at it.
Yeah.
If you like it, we might do it. But if not, it's still here.
Check it out. Yeah.
Check it out. It's like the Will Smith meme.
Yeah. That's the meme of Will Smith. Yeah. He's a little bit more famous for some other memes now.
Yeah.
But I do like that idea, though. I'm interested to see how Miguel comes into the new one. I love Spider-Man 2099. It's one of my favorite books. That run from the 90s of geez, it might have even been late 80s of the 2099 books. And he's really the only one that survived and is still, but there's book currently being published with that character in it. I just like the design. I like how he's kind of vampiric. He's teeth, and he's actually got like talons on his fingers, and that's how he grabs onto stuff. And it was the design of the costumes.
It's very Toby-like.
Say again?
It's very Toby-like. Like in the first Spider-Man film, like Toby sees like they're like, so what is it, like teeth coming out of his fingers? So
Yeah,
it's stick with
microscopic kind of like talons. Yeah, like little sort of grip points. And the character Miguel's like that, and also the costume is it's indicative of some sort of like avenging spirit kind of thing, and it was just interesting. It was an interesting take on Spider-Man, set in like a strange future like Metropolis, and yeah, it was cool. I hope that they feature him a little bit more, and Oscar Isaac, you can put him in anything. I don't mind. You can have him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like my first introduction, I've told you this before. I don't know if I've said like on camera or like on audio.
Whatever. Technically, you're on camera.
Yeah. That my introduction to Miles was in a small cartoon show called The Ultimate Spider-Man, where in season 2 of Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man goes through the multiverse, and he meets like Spider-Woman, and he meets like the episode right before Miles Morales is the episode of 2099. Sorry, that's another film.
Blade Runner, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and like it's 2D animation, like the whole show. And for that episode, they're going to 3D animation because it's his world.
What?
And it's so cool to see, because like he comes in and then like Miguel O'Hara attacks Peter Parker because Miguel's like there's an imposter trying to hinder the legend of Spider-Man, because in his world Spider-Man was a legend and then he passed away.
Yeah, well, of course.
And then he fights Peter Parker, and he's like, I'm Peter Parker. He's like, that can't be possible because Peter Parker is dead. And then like they both try to save him, and then like they compare webs, because like Peter Parker's web weren't able to like stick, whereas Miguel's web were able to stick and then wrap. So like they defeated Goblin together. It was really cool.
Awesome. I'm fucking checking this shit. That's on Disney Plus, is it not?
I don't know. Should be though, because it was a Disney XD thing, so should be.
Okay.
And then the next one is Miles. Like he drops into Miles Morales, and Miles Morales actually saves Peter Parker. And like when Peter Parker comes in that, it's I'm finally home. And then he sees like someone else, and you're like, was I gone for too long? And then he's like fighting someone, and then Miles saves him, and then like they're both in shock. It's like, and then Miles is like, oh, you don't know, do you? And then he tells them Peter Parker died, and I knew this Peter Parker. And they have like the same kind of vibe that Miles and Peter B. Parker have, but it's more in the film than in that episode. But like you can see the connection there as well. Miles is a very, very, very cool character. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we need to get off this podcast so I can go and watch that episode. Honestly, it's there's so much going on in the Spider-Man universe at the moment, and everybody's seen No Way Home, and we're wondering what the future of Spider-Man is. If it's going to be more of this Venom stuff, and we've got those movies coming out, and then you've got whatever Tom Holland's doing, and then you've got the 2 Spider-Verse sequels next year. The doors are open for a lot of opportunity, but take yourself back a couple of years and rewatch this program. I've said it before, the ultimate goal of this podcast is for people to listen and be like, you know what, I'm going to go and either check that out for the first time, or I'm going to revisit that. That's, if you decide to do that, then
we won.
Yeah, we are the winning podcast for the week. So, before we finish up, we're going to have to do some questions and whatnot. Any final thoughts there, Addie? Any parting wisdoms around the Spider-Verse?
Kind of, yeah. Spider-Verse was a film that's very, very special to me. Like that's like it's either The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or more. I think Spider-Verse is more of my comfort film. Like I know I said last week that I fire up Tasm too when I want to watch, like, or when I want to stop feeling things, or when I want to feel things. But if like it's a family friendly film, like, and it's something that you can enjoy with or without having a previous with Spider-Man, which is what made it so unique.
Yeah.
Is that while being a story about like legacy and generations, it's also a brand new introduction.
Yeah.
And it's inspired me in ways that I can't even tell. And I also have a script where Silk meets Miles, so please just let me make it.
You're gonna keep pushing this all the way through the Spider-Man episodes. I want to read this shit. Will you send it to me?
I'll send you the last part.
Why can't I read the whole thing?
Because I'm not confident yet. I'm just
lies, subterfuge. Fair enough. I just want to see a little bit of it. But then I will come back and I will chat to all you folks about how good it is, and then you can badger Sony about it. Just send them, we'll spam email the shit out of them.
Yes, please. But before we go, I want to do a quick rundown. Top 3 favorite moments of the film. Go.
Sure. What's up, Danger? It's number 1.
Yeah.
We backflips off that building and takes the leap of faith that he has to take. 100%. The Peter B. Parker saying, protect your identity, wear the mask, because he'll come after he'll come after everyone you love, basically. That not only sets up Spider-Man, his whole thing about why he wears the mask, but also it lends an awful lot of threat to Kingpin. And Kingpin being the villain of this film, the prime villain, is ridiculous. It shouldn't work because he's
Kingpin in this film is ridiculous as fuck.
He's just huge.
But it works.
But it totally works, and he has a really interesting reason for why he's doing what he's doing, and brooking no opposition for it. And the other favorite part is when Peter from the older Peter, the Peter in his 40s, comes into Miles' universe, and he's about to see that universe's version of May.
Mary Jane.
He's like, I'm not ready for this, and then thwips onto the doorbell. It's just such a sweet moment,
Yeah. Oh, me. Yeah. Sorry.
Him, like, not being. Of him being.
It shows he's not ready. It shows he's not ready, but he's also very lazy because he trips to the doorbell.
He's so over his powers. It's really funny. Like, where he's walking up like sideways down the building, and Miles is trying to catch him, not knowing how to use his powers yet, and he's just casually doing it. He's so over having spider abilities, he couldn't give a shit. Like, it's so good. Everyone, go back. What are your favorites?
Like, I get to that, but like that scene, right? It's like you can have that just like Miles and Peter talking, right? But no, it's not. They're talking, and there's a window where guys just eating ice cream. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And like the ice cream falls down. It's like,
as well, yeah. Just little things like that, really sweeten the pot,
Yeah, and I also love that at the end of the film, we don't get a kiss between Gwen and Miles. They're friends. Let's just be that.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that Marvel took that and then applied it to Shang-Chi as well, where at the end Shang-Chi and Awkwafina's character are not like dating or whatever. Like, they're friends.
Yeah. It's not
like, have more of that.
Not everything is about those type of relationships. I mean, the tradition of storytelling is you need a love interest. No, you don't. That's absolutely not the truth. There's a lot of other emotions. 14 complex emotions, none of them love.
Yeah.
It's the name of my jazz side project. Anyway, that's a joke my sister-in-law made one time. Here we go.
Right.
I want to hear him. 3.
Okay, number 3 is is the interaction with Miles and Gwen when they first meet.
Yeah, it's perfect.
with like the hair thing is like, hey, how you doing?
And he's hanging. Fuck. So good.
And it comes back at the end as well with Kingpin.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, oh man, I love this movie.
Trounces Kingpin like he's a huge fucking sack of shit.
Like Kingpin in this movie is a blob with a head. That's Kingpin.
It's insane.
And I love
looking.
it.
But it works. It totally works.
It works because it's animation and because it's so very, like we have a live action Hulk. Like that Kingpin can work.
Not standing next to normal people, he can't. It's going to look very out of place, but that's all right.
Yeah, but if you just like enlarge Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, it will work.
Enlarge.
Just saying. Like,
I think
that's not what I meant.
Have you seen him? Have you seen that picture of him in the gym training for the new fucking Daredevil series? He looks fucking huge.
He's not training for the Daredevil series, man. Come on.
I reckon he is.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel told us in confidence. We can't just fucking say that now, can we?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get a call from Mr.
Feige.
Plus himself. Hey guys, it's Disney Plus here. Yeah, that is my name again. Stop fucking telling everybody that we're Kingpin. Yeah, I know, I'm a bit drunk. I'm Disney Plus. I like a gin and tonic. Don't stop telling everyone that Kingpin is coming back for the Daredevil series, or we're gonna firebomb your house.
No, we don't know.
I'm Disney Plus.
Disney's my first name. Plus is my last name.
Just Disney's the first name. What's my middle name? I don't have a joke for that right now. But what you will do is start seeing a lot of people wearing fucking mouse ears around you because that's our SWAT team. Can you imagine that? Just like a SWAT team rappelling down the side of a building as you're walking down the street, and they look all in SWAT gear except they've got the mouse ears. Disney Plus sent us. Pew! We get tased.
Episode 100. We have the Captain America and Superman junk conversation. We have the Nightwing skit, and then we have this at the end.
Well, I'm making a list. We'll get there. 100 weeks is only 2 years and a bit, so easy.
What's 2 years?
That's 2 years exactly. Okay, so what is your second one?
My second one is actually the conversation of Peter B. Parker and Miles on that wall where Peter's like, "This is why I don't have kids. This is why I don't have kids." He's just like, and then he goes up, and then Miles is like hopelessly staring at him, and he's like, "I'm not waiting for you. Come on up."
It's really sweet. It's a really sweet relationship.
Yeah.
And where Peter runs into Mary Jane as the waiter. So clever.
Especially the match cut where they're all they're all seeing it from like outside of the building, and then it's a match cut to them inside.
Yeah.
It's fucking
really,
awesome.
Really cool. Oh man, it's such a good movie. Okay, last one. Sorry.
Last one. Yeah, I mean, can you go wrong with What's Up Danger? Mine started with It's a Leap of Faith and What's Up Danger, but it's also followed by What's Up Danger. So
they're kind of the same moment. Yeah. Well, that's number one, absolutely.
But also, like Aunt May saying to Miles, "Took you long enough." It's just
she's all over it. Such a good representation.
Yeah, it also shows, and like it's so heartbreaking because they have that conversation in like his room. And it's heartbreaking because like Peter B. Parker comes up, and then you see everyone else waiting because they believed in him that he'd finally break through and get in control, and he's not able to. It's just heartbreaking to see like all of them just go. And then May and like Aunt May being the one who had like the most faith that he'll show up. And like he gets the classic one, and he does his shit with it, and like, yeah. That's in my script, Sony, please.
Hi, it's Disney Plus again. Stop shouting at us about your fucking screenplay. Everybody does that. Again, this is Disney Plus.
Yeah, sorry.
Cool. Well,
yeah, sorry. I'll stop with that now.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. I can't wait to read the script. And that's the end of our Legacy of the Spider-Man Part 3 episode.
Part 3. Wow.
I know. On Into the Spider-Verse. Go and check it out again. And do we have a couple of questions that we can do quickly before we bounce?
We do. Just let me find it.
That's all right. You only had all day to prepare. Too busy working on your screenplay.
I hope so. Fucking hope so.
I am. I'm right here. I'm on your team, buddy. I own a production company. We could do it. We just need to. Spider-Man just needs to get put into the public domain. That'll happen soon.
What does even that mean?
When the rights for characters or stories or whatever lapse into public domain, it means anybody can use them to tell stories.
Okay.
Like Sherlock.
Well, we can.
And stuff like that. Because they're old enough, they were created long enough ago that they no longer have, specific rights holders. So that'll never happen to Spider-Man though.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. So.
But hey, we can make a non-profit Spider-Man film. Like a short film.
Yeah. People do it all the time. And Tarzan.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be Tarzan in that one. I'm just gonna be there seeing you.
Nah, I don't think
yes,
so.
here.
No, I do not have.
Yes, you'll be fucking.
I don't have the long hair anymore, and I'm not svelte enough. I'd need to go.
I don't care. You'll take off that hoodie and be fucking Alex Skarsgård in the Northman, man.
I wish. That guy is yoked. Cool. All right. Any questions that aren't about me being Tarzan?
Well, I do, but so we'll save that after the recording.
We'll chat about that privately.
Yeah.
Alexander Skarsgård was Tarzan as well,
Holy shit, he was.
Northman, but he was in The Legend of Tarzan, which I actually quite like that movie. But I'm a big Tarzan fan, so.
Fair man. High five. I like that movie also. I don't know why fucking people hate it.
Digital high five.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 1.
Q&A. Well, he's the theme for Q&A.
Hang on. Here's the theme. And how many questions do we have today?
We have 3.
3! Lucky 3. Fantastic.
Oh, we actually have 4 because, special shout out to my best friend, Saad, who's in Lebanon right now. I hope that you're listening, my friend. He's been my buddy since middle school, and we fell in love with Spider-Man together. And he's the reason why I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man so much.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, sorry, you glitched out for a second. I didn't hear it. Oh, well, good. Hey, what's his name?
Saad.
Saad, you're a legend, mate. I hope, and where is he?
He's in Lebanon right now.
I hope Lebanon's treating you well.
I hope so too, buddy.
Having some.
All right, so we.
There, they just call it.
Yeah, hell yes. Yeah. It's the whole Chinese food thing, right?
It's a Friends joke, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've never seen Friends.
Go to China, have Chinese food. Yeah, of course, they just call it food. It's a good joke. It's a good joke. Anyway, question number 1.
Yeah, question number 1. Jesus Christ. That's not the question. No.
He's not terribly vocal on Instagram, which is funny.
Do you know there's an actual person that pretends to be Jesus H. Christ? Like his name is Jesus H. Christ.
Fantastic. Good on him. Doing the Lord's work. Literally.
Oh, fuck thing. Yeah. This is where we go mad, right?
Yep, this
Every
is
single
roundabout
episode.
question time is when we start going a little bit strange. But that's why people keep coming back.
Yeah. Like, just see how we've grown from our first episode of Q&A.
It's pretty impressive, honestly.
To us.
Yeah. Even our reporters are pretty great. But that's what happens. You do something long enough, you get good at it. Hand jobs.
I was on a chain the other day.
Fucking hand jobs. What am I talking about?
Oh, we had to put that in, right?
Yeah,
we had we had one episode of The Lazy Spider-Man last week where we didn't talk about dicks. So
I know.
Here it is.
Yeah, we've got to get the dicks in where we can. I'm just saying that if you practice hand jobs, you're going to get good at it. It's supposed to be a question and answer section. What are we talking about? Oh, God.
It's supposed to be Star Wars section, dude.
That was super fun. Come on. Amazing. Or how Doctor Strange decided to be a giant penis in the sky. That still cracks me up. Oh, it's so silly.
I was gonna say that. I was on the train listening to like one of our podcasts because I do that. And it was like the Q&A segment of like No, it wasn't. It was the segment where where we talked about it's when the birth of the dual dicks came.
Sure.
I couldn't.
Iconic.
I was laughing like fucking crazy, and everyone in the chamber was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this kid?"
I completely forgot that for our Drawn Together episode, I spent the better part of 10 minutes pretending to be a pirate. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good times. Enjoy our current, like 30 hours of content, everybody.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Shall we get
to I bet it's more than 30 hours. Yeah.
It probably is more than 30, actually, yeah. Shoot.
Character ranking for his... What is that? Oh, okay. Jesus. Character ranking for Into the Spider-Verse. Or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
You know you can pre-read these. So
I choose not to.
Fair enough. Okay.
Without Miles. Let's do one without Miles.
Without Miles. Okay, in that case, Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do the heroes. Gwen, Noir Spider-Man, Peter Porker, Penny Parker, and then Penny Parker, and then who am I forgetting?
Peter B. Parker. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yes, there you go.
That's your last one?
Yes. Because I've seen him plenty, I haven't seen him.
Yeah. So, that's true.
What about you?
That's true. Well, Gwen, of course.
Gwen.
Peter B. Parker? No, actually, Spider-Man Noir. I want a fucking film with him, dude. I just want Nicolas Cage.
You could do it with Nicolas Cage. There's nothing stopping you from doing it with Nicolas Cage.
Exactly. Have you seen the new one? The new Nicolas Cage movie where Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage?
Plays himself. Yeah, the unbearable
weight of massive talent.
Massive talent. Yeah. Fucking.
Man.
Parody of himself at this point.
Yeah, but it's also fucking amazing. Yeah. So Gwen, Spider-Man Noir.
Yep.
Peter B. Parker.
Yep.
Penny Parker, Peter Porker.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5, right? And then Miles on the top anyway.
Miles on the top, obviously. Yeah, that's
yeah.
All right, question number 2.
Fuck. So are we just not including Kingpin in the top 5? Because holy shit.
I was just doing the heroes.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll be here all week.
Oh, we've got only 2 villains, haven't we?
Well, Prowler.
Well, we've got 3.
Doc Ock.
We've got Prowler, Doc Ock, Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Also,
what the fuck?
Kingpin.
I keep saying Pin King. Shit my own face.
Well, you didn't say the thing this time, did you?
Yeah. Addie sent me a message the other day because I put up a preview. It was the blooper reel for the most recent episode of the Stitch Up with Regs, where me and my dear friend Cynthia Galley were talking about League of Their Own, and there was a few bloopers, and I put the blooper reel up, and it was me. I nearly dropped my notepad or my noteboard thing, and it frightened me a little bit, and I was like, oh, fuck my own face. And yes, that is something that I say on this podcast a bit. It's just, I don't know why.
I love it.
I don't have any control over this mouth. You know the part of the brain that connects, like, the stopgap between what you think and what you say? I don't have that.
I don't either. That's why I don't fucking read.
That's why we're good podcasters,
Yeah, that part of us is missing, so we complete each other.
Yeah, I'm not convinced I had it, at all. It's like the enzyme in Jurassic Park that makes it so they can't breed. Like they're all built to be female, and then all of a sudden they use frog DNA and they start to spontaneously change sex. That's what happened with me. My brain started normal, and then it decided, no, I want to say everything that comes into my head with no fucking brooking no opposition.
Okay.
I've evolved.
Was that the point of the frog shit?
Yeah, the frog. You've seen Jurassic Park, in that film, they crossbreed the dino DNA with frog DNA to match up the sequences. You know what? Just go and fucking watch Jurassic Park and get over it. Not you.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Cut this out of the podcast. I really have to tell you now.
No, whatever it is, it's going in. You've never seen Jurassic Park?
I have, Jesus Christ.
Okay, good. I'm just
joking. I'm not gonna start Star Wars now. Just fuck that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long conversation.
Yeah. That's a podcast.
Right.
So it was raining like fucking cats and dogs yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Which, thank you to my English teacher, I still remember the idiom. So
yeah, it's a weird one, but sure.
It exists, so why not?
Sure, yeah. Cats and dogs, whatever.
And like, I opened the entrance door to my house at night, as one does. There was this big of a frog, like outside my fucking house, like. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was like, it was dark, like I didn't even turn on the fucking light. I was like, that's weird. I've never seen that before. I didn't know it was a fucking frog. And so like I stomped my foot like quite a bit to like figure out what the fuck it was, because apparently my foot has light. Okay. That's what I was thinking. And so I moved a bit and then went into the light and I was like, that's weird. That's something moving. It was an eyeball, which I realized like 20 minutes later. But then I stomped again, and then like you know when the frog jumps and you can hear it, like you hear distinct voice and you're like, oh, that's a frog. Sort of sound, yeah. Yeah, and it was like a marble, so like the fucker couldn't get out. I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna turn into frog man now? Is this how I go?
Is this the thing that kills me? This weird frog creature? That's fucking cool, man. I like that.
It's not when you open your door.
I mean, that's terrifying. Yeah, if it was as big, like Addie is currently making the size of, I guess, what would be like a basketball.
Yeah, a basketball.
Probably lengthwise, anyway. It was probably a toad. Frogs
here's the thing. Big. Yeah, here's the thing, because I've seen toads, and toads have like a shell, right, or like a spiky back.
Not necessarily. They're a type of amphibian that is closely related to a frog, but they are typically bigger. Like in Australia, we have a lot of cane toads in the upper parts of Queensland and whatnot. They were fucking brought over here to get rid of the bugs, and then they overbred like motherfuckers, and now it's a huge problem. Oh yeah, Australia is fantastic with bringing over here like foreign breeds of animals that just get completely overrun the place. But yeah, they're huge. They can be really, really big.
Yeah, I've seen the spider pictures of like Australian spiders, and
oh yeah, man, we've got it all here. There's spiders, toads, swimming knives. We've got it all. Everything can kill you. But yeah, it was probably a toad. But I'm glad you're all right. I think next time what you should do is construct a small saddle and ride it into the shops.
Let's move on.
That's a good idea. Question number 2, please. I hope it's about toads.
Well, see, here's the thing. I didn't know it was a toad because I failed science. So fuck you, school.
You don't need to pass science class to know what a fucking toad is.
Hey, man, I've seen. I got you.
Science, knowing science. Passing science at school and knowing what a frog or a toad is are two different things. Okay.
Well, my knowledge for toads was the old Yeller film.
My knowledge for toads.
What? He trades a toad for a dog.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. This is a really funny thing to say. My knowledge for toads is limited.
It is.
All right, what's the second fucking question? I'm exhausted. Oh, my goodness.
Right. Is there any chance that we can see Vi from Arcane and Gwen from Into the Spider-Verse meet, because both are played and voiced by Haley Steinfeld? Well, I would love that, wouldn't I?
Yes.
I don't think that's possible.
I think your brain would cave in on itself. Yeah, it's absolutely not possible. Netflix and
Yeah.
Sony aren't going to share properties, but would be cool though. It's a cool idea. Maybe someone should.
It would be cool. It will also be my new lock screen. So, yeah.
Hot.
Yes, very.
And
You stuck? Oh, okay.
And, no, I'm not stuck. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question is: we will see Tom, Andrew in the second or third Into the Spider-Verse film, but in live action or animation. So which one do you want?
Is that a question?
It is. Let me rephrase. Okay.
Okay.
If we see Tom and if we see,
I'm following.
if we see
what you're saying.
If we see Tom, yeah,
Tom, Toby, and Andrew appeared in No Way Home together. If they were to appear again together, would you prefer it to be live action or in an animated Spider-Verse form?
right. Well, the first Spider-Verse had all these three characters meeting, but Sony said it was too early for all of them to meet yet today, like 2 years after, or like 3. But it would be more cheaper for Sony to do it. It would be fucking awesome for us to see.
Yeah, I would absolutely do it in one of the Into the Spider-Verse sequels. Put it in the third one, because you've got time then to do it now that we know that would work. I don't think you need to see them all together again live action. If you're going to do something live action, give Andrew his third film and give Toby his fourth. And put Miles in something. But yeah, I would say animation. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say animation too.
So all done with the questions, and that's it, folks. We're off again, and we'll see you next week for the final in our Legacy of the Spider-Man series, Part 4, where we will be talking about the MCU Tom Holland Spider-Verse, which will include a small chat about his introduction into the MCU in Civil War, which is one of the best introductions to a character that they've done, in my opinion. But that'll be next week, so come on back now. Come on back, and we'll see you then another time. Addie, you're beautiful. You're wonderful. Make sure you're
beautiful too.
Oh, it's you can't hide the profits forever, mate. Make sure you do wherever you get the podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music. Make sure to write and review, or to rate and review rather. We really do appreciate it. And we'll catch up next week, buddy, and finish this whole crazy business up.
Yes, and while we're nearing the end of the Spider-Thon and the Spider-Thon talks and the Legacy of Spider-Man episodes, please let us know what you want us to dive in next. Otherwise, we'll just make fan fictions about Hulk and Doctor Strange's day.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Well, actually, me and a couple of my friends are going to the Astor at the end of this month to do the marathon of the Lord of the Rings pictures, the OG.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me because of all the hate that you currently have in your heart for me, because I get to do that and you don't. So maybe we might be able to talk about them. Let us know if that would be something you might like to talk about.
I would love to do that. I'll wear my Lord of the Rings t-shirt all day, every day. For that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll talk some more next week, folks. Addie, take it easy, man.
You take it easy too. And for everyone listening, thank you for listening. Stay awesome. No, that's not what I say.
I mean, you can be awesome if you want to.
You can be whoever you want.
Be as awesome as you please, but also be these other things.
But also, stay safe, be amazing, or stay amazing.
You're struggling with this outro, sir.
I'm so sorry.
That's funny.
Hey man, we've been recording since like 10:30 a.m. here.
Yeah, it's been 4.5 hours we've been doing shows because that's how much we love you, everybody.
Yes. So stay amazing, stay safe, and always remember, it's a leap of faith.